Welcome back to Tomahawk Sports Talk. We bring you all the news and insights from Photo Stage Sports. I'm Blake Overbeck.
I'm Ray Nyson.
And I'm Matthew Solon. I'm going to kick it away with some wrestling results from last weekend. For the boys, we had Dawson Lucas plays 5th, Brennan Lees plays 4th, William Dufer plays 3rd, Cation Schreier plays 1st, Brennan Mathis plays 4th, Stephen Thomas 9th, Luke Steffens 2nd, Antonio Martinez 3rd, Gabe Allen 11th, Isaac Ward 1st, and Angelo Torres 8th. On the girls' side, they placed 4th as a team with Lexi Newman 9th, Memory Snow 10th, Lily Veach 15th, Kylie Dunn 1st, Anita Bertling 6th, Jocelyn Gray 1st, Lexi Steffens 5th, Ariel Biggs 1st, Naomi Blitzer 13th, Madison Leitner 6th, Isabel Adams 3rd, Bridget Wood 13th, and Holly Wines 3rd. Oh, and Kiara Harvey Matney 2nd. So, good job to wrestling.
Pretty successful for them.
Shout out wrestling.
Yeah, that's a good start to the season for them. They get a little wind-up tournaments, and then I know around right before Christmas break, they go on the big tournament at the KC Stampede. So that's always gonna be a great challenge for them because it's one of the biggest wrestling tournaments in the Midwest. So it's gonna be great to see where they're at as a team, and I think they can do really big things this season. I think.
Yeah, and then both sides too. The boys returned 3 of their state champions or 2?
2.
2 of their state champions, and then the girls have 2 up-and-coming, more than likely state champions as well.
Yeah, and I don't know if Matthew mentioned it, but congratulations to Cation Schreier and Isaac Ward for both hitting 150 wins. I mean, that's a remarkable kind of accomplishment as high school wrestlers, because it's a big deal to hit 100 wins, but to hit 150, that's like sort of legendary status. And I think both of them kind of cemented a mark on Fort Osage high school wrestling.
And they're also going to set up for the future too, whereas the younger generation of wrestlers will look up to them and be like, I want to do that, so they're going to probably work harder to.
Yeah, Fort Osage it's a great just like feeder program into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe they have like huge numbers, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I think I took I was walking out of school at like 5 yesterday, and then as I was walking around, I kind of saw the middle school part of the city's quad from yesterday. It was so packed. It was just like, it's like I feel like Fort Osage has a great future, and I feel like it's going to be very interesting to see how they grow.
Yeah, well, like I interned with Coach Dudley this year, so I got to see some of the kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and they were talking about middle school wrestling where they had to hire like a whole nother coach, or they're trying to because of how many wrestlers they have, and it's just insane to think about that there's like, I don't know the exact number, I kind of forgot, but it was like 80 to 100 either total or wrestlers on the boys' side. I don't remember, but it was something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and then it's kind of crazy how wrestling's got that big at Fort Osage.
Yeah. Well, it's always been big, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something with football that Fort Osage, is going to be successful in every single year. So I think Braden's going to move on to boys basketball.
Yeah, we're moving on to boys basketball, who's had a rough stretch to start the season, 0-3 overall and 0-2 in conference. Last time around, we talked about the Liberty North loss, which was a tough loss in itself. And then on December 9th, me and Blake commentated their game versus Belton. Check that highlights out. But Fort Osage lost in a 74-50 game. Wow, that's a 24-point difference on the scoreboard. I think the Indians kind of kept Belton on their toes, kept the Pirates on their toes.
I don't think that game was a 24-point deficit either. No. I mean, Belton has some really good players, really big players, but they're not 24 points better than us.
Yeah, I think it was just a size advantage that Belton took on the Fort Osage Indians because, I mean, their 2 top scorers were 6'6", almost standing 6'7", Cooper Schrum, and then 6'4", Jace Maiden, who, I mean, he was just fantastic.
Yeah, and then they also had 6'3" or 4", Caleb Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell, he made a big difference when he was out there, but he fouled out at the end of the game, but he was hovering around that 3-4 foul mark since tip off basically.
Yeah.
They also had a guy who fouled out in 5 minutes of PT.
Yeah, he played 5 minutes of the game and fouled out.
Yeah, but for the Indians, it's just about making shots. I feel like they shot 25% from the field. They get looks from three, but they're not necessarily making it. Like, besides Dom, Mackay and Cooper, and Kobe Baker, they went a combined 15 and 0 from three. Besides those guys, and then even like Dom went 2 for 13, which is like I feel like those shots, and I feel like that's kind of like a sign of like, hey, in the future I think these shots are going to make last time. And I think another sign of improvement was they last game against Liberty North they had 35 turnovers. This game they had only 20 turnovers, and they also kind of matched their turnover mark with their steal marks, led by yet again Dom Soto, who had 8 steals. I mean, just an all-around great game for him, and he's going to really have to continue to play that leader role throughout the season for the Florida State Indians.
Yeah, well, that's also, like, even though they lost by 24, there's kind of a positive to that. Like, they did only shoot 25% from the field, so you think they make a few more of those baskets and shoot 40 to 45% from the field. I mean, that's a completely different game. And it's the beginning of the season, too. You know they're going to get hot. Coach Wilson's going to lock them in, so it's exciting for them. And was that the first conference game they played too?
That's the first that's the first conference game they played. And then I mentioned this on the broadcast, but what Coach Wilson said, I mean, I think it's very indicative whenever you see how many games the girls played compared to the boys, is that they need more experience, especially with this young team, where I believe Dom Soto is the only person with kind of meaningful varsity play time kind of returning. So that's always like, that's kind of the difference maker there.
Yeah, well, and the girls have already played 7 games, whereas the boys have only played 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Is it
3?
3, yeah.
Because their third game, they played the Grand Valley Eagles at Grand Valley, which was a tough game for them. Tough loss, 58-23. Personally, I wasn't at this game, but I know that sort of the highlight here for the Grand Valley Eagles is Eli Herbert. I think last season he dropped 44 on the Indians, which was his career high. But this season he didn't have as much luck, only dropping 23 and 23, 7 and 6. So he still had a great game, but I feel like the Indians did a better job in kind of containing him, being sort of pests on him.
Yeah, well, also, like, I wasn't at the game either, but looking at the box score, like, yeah, Eli only had, you said 23, but then they had another guy that had 20.
Yeah. Anthony Juarez, he was more efficient because Eli only shot 39%. He shot 47%. And another thing for the Indians yet again is consistency, especially from the three-point line. In this game, they shot 20% from the field and then 14% from the three-point line. It's not that necessarily they're taking back shots. I don't think they're taking back shots, especially from what I've seen of them. I think it's more of their shots aren't falling, which I think is just a sort of luck of the draw thing.
Yeah, well, in the game against Belton, too, a lot of their threes that they miss it's not like they're airballing every single three. Like, they're barely missing the mark. They had a few that rattled in and bounced out. It's just unlucky sometimes, too, for them.
Also, they're not really – I think it's part of size, but they're not really drawing free throws. Like, against Grand Valley – of course, Grand Valley is a very, what's the word? Disciplined team. Very disciplined. But they only shot 3 free throws the entire game. And they only went 1 from 3 from those free throws. And then also they also got out-rebounded. They got doubled – Grand Valley had double the rebounds that Florida State had. And then especially 14 on the offensive side is very rough to give up.
Well, unfortunately, that's what you're going to get from this year's team is pretty much probably almost everybody they play is going to out-rebound them. But that's just where it comes back to the Indians need to get some of those shots to go their way, and, they'll be fine.
Yeah. And another good sign is that they continue to kind of keep their turnovers down. So I think the Indians have made good development throughout the early season. And while the scores might not look pretty, I think, especially tonight's or yesterday's as this airs game against Raytown, I think that's going to be very interesting to see how they are as a team. especially since Raytown's a team that likes to jump the passing lanes. They like to kind of create chaos. They're a very athletic bunch. And, I mean, last season they were a state-ranked team, so, I mean, it's just a great great program they have there. I think this will be an interesting challenge for the Indians, and I think
Well, didn't you say, too, like we were working on the spotting guide because we
Yeah.
were supposed to commentate it. Didn't you say you put on there that Raytown graduated like 4 of their 5 top scorers?
Yeah, they graduated 4 of their 5 starting out of their starting lineup, but they're still a good team. I think they have a lot of depth, and I also believe that they beat Platte County in their last game, and then Platte County was a team that was pretty good last season, but also it's kind of a similar situation as the Indians where they graduated a lot of their talent. So I feel like that's a game that I would want to look forward to because a lot of Platte County's talent, they had one guy who averaged like 20, and then they had like, I believe there are 2 other guys where 2 guys that are going D1 in football now, so they're not going to play. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how the season develops for the Indians. I think I wouldn't say it's a competitive, I'd say it's more of like a see what we have season because a lot of these guys are young. We only 2 seniors. So I think you develop these guys and have the best season that you can have with these guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, well, moving on to girls basketball, who are 3-4 on the season, 2-0 in conference, kind of 3-1 if you count the Winnetonka tournament, but it doesn't count for conference standings. On last Thursday, when this last week's episode aired, the Indians lost 65-18 to North Kansas City. Tegan Shockley had 5, Kenna Simons had 5, Reagan Filmer had 4, and a freshman, McKinley Matthews, scored 2. I was at the game. My takeaways from the game was I noticed the Indians turned the ball over a lot. NKC, they were like doing like this press thing, and NKC just ate them alive with it. I mean, it was just the entire game too, which, I mean, it's tough. Those presses are tough if they find something that works and you can't find a way to break it. I mean, it's really tough to do anything. And then also, just like it's going to be all season for the girls too, the size difference is going to kill them because NKC had a girl that was probably 6'2", 6'3", and she got every single rebound. I mean, it was unfair. Anytime a shot missed, that girl had it. Also, the Indians did not hit very many of their shots either. I mean, the Indians are going to have to catch and shoot since they don't have any since they really don't have a size to like get it into the post, but I mean, it was like the boys, none of their shots are falling. They're just getting unlucky, which that's still a positive too, because like if you do like get hot and some of your shots start falling, then you can win games. But as of right now, the Indians they just need to find a way to get the shots to fall. And then on Monday, they bounced back really good and they beat crosstown rival William Chrisman 55-24. With Tegan Shockley getting 14, McKenna Simons 10, Reagan Fillmore 10, and Kaylin Owings with 5. That's their last conference game they'll play in 2025 as they take a little break. And it's also a good win too because you always want to beat Chrisman. You never want to lose to them, and it's just a good win for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think a theme that we've been seeing play out for the Indians is kind of the surgence of Tegan Shockley. She's kind of like broken out on her own this season. Like you said, she dropped 14 against Chrisman, but then she also dropped, 14 rebounds against Belton in a tough, low-scoring contest. So she's kind of the best of both worlds where, like, she's a team's main rebounder, even though she's undersized. I think that's kind of what you need. You need somebody with that grit to kind of put themselves out there and get some rebounds. Especially, it's hard to get rebounds whenever you're facing a 6'2" girl, and that's about 7 inches taller than anybody on her team. So,
yeah. And also just looking at some of their numbers, like the Indians have shot. Casey High School Hoops isn't updated for the girls yet, but I think this is their first 3 or 4 games. Like they're shooting 30% from the field, and only 20% from 3, and 35% from the free throw line. So they're leaving a lot of points on the table, which, like I said, if they just get some of those shots to fall, then they're going to be really good. But also, like you said, Tegan Shockley leads the team in rebounds with 38. This is through the first few games, but like you said, it's promising. And then just some of the averages from this season. Kenneth Simon leads away, 12.2 points. Reagan Fillmore, 10. Tegan Shockley with 7. Assists, Kenneth Simons and Reagan are both above 2. They're averaging no blocks. Steals, they do have a lot of steals. Kenneth Simons, 3. Reagan Fillmore, 2. Tegan Shockley, 2. Abby Herman, 2. But they're also averaging a lot of turnovers. They have 73 turnovers through their first few games, which I would assume a lot of them came from that game against North Kansas City because I felt like I was there watching the first 5 minutes of that game. I think they turned the ball over their first, 5 possessions. But honestly, the free throw number is that's kind of scary because you need to make your free throws because those are just free points.
Yeah, especially since I'm looking at the stats from the NKC game. NKC shot 88% from free throws. I think that's kind of the difference between the two teams is that you need to make your free throws whenever it gets to that point, and then even those free 1 to 2 points, they add up throughout a game, and I think that's very key for the Indians too.
Yeah, and the one girl that we were talking about that was 6'3", she had 13 boards, and she just dominated the post. She also had 16 points, 3 steals, 2 blocks, so she had a really good game. But you could tell when they were warming up, that girl was going to be a problem just because how big she was.
Yeah, she'd be taller than anybody on the boys' team, too.
Yeah. And then they also had another girl drop 20. But she shot 10 for 10 from free throws. So she really took advantage of all of her opportunities to score. But, yeah. Matthew, do you have any comments on either of the basketball teams?
No.
Okay. All right, well, I think that wraps us up. This will be the last episode of the semester as we'll go to Christmas break, but I'm Blake Overbeck.
I'm Ray Nassen.
I'm Matthew Sloan.
We'll see you next time.